Hey, so I'd just like to do a little check-in with everyone and just make sure that everyone is getting the dyad technique and that it's clear what it is we're actually doing here, and that that the technique is clear, and also to start to get a sense of what it's actually doing for us. At the beginning, there's a sort of threshold that we sort of have to push through sometimes before we actually start to feel and actually experience directly the benefit of this technique. And once we start getting it, it's usually people are like, okay, now I'm into it. I totally get it. They're starting to feel the benefit of it. But until we really start to get that direct feeling, it's really just following the technique and trusting that this technique actually does what it says it does and does actually work. So um, yeah, so maybe we'll just start. If anyone has any questions or any questions or concerns or anything coming up in their practice. Yeah, Christina.
Hi, Dan.
Hi,
I
Christina.
just want to say the app is absolutely amazing and well done.
Oh, awesome. It's
Oh,
it's it's been a long haul with getting it working, but yeah, it's
it's
mostly there. Yeah,
like it's so perfect. It's just like fantastic work. So thank you for
thank you.
giving us this beautiful gift. Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's all
Awesome.
I needed. Thank
Okay,
you.
that's it. Okay, yeah. Thanks, Christina. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, so is everybody really getting the technique? It's making sense. It's landed for everyone. Okay, good.
Yeah, I,
Danielle. Yeah, hi there.
I Dan. I definitely feel like because I've been on this path and I've done your meditations a lot on Gaia, and so I kind of knew what the answers were. So there were parts of me where I can feel like my divine self was coming through, but there were moments where I was very skeptical, where I was asking myself, is this coming from head knowledge?
Mhm.
Or is it coming truly in this moment? Like it's really coming through, and am I forcing it? So that was a little bit of, you know, if you can help me clarify that.
Yeah, that's great that you see that, and that's a common thing that happens, especially if you've had you've had an awakening experience in the past. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
hmm Yeah, so this technique is really perfect for people who've already had an awakening or a samadhi experience, because what happens is, you know, there's a the truth of who we are, of course, is, that awareness is always here. And we kind of know that, but at the same time, it's like the mind, there's a mind state also that it accompanies an awakening. So there's the recognition of who we are, which, it just is as it is. There's no um, nothing, there's no phenomena to that awareness, but yet the mind remembers a state. When we have an awakening experience, it remembers, and that's all it can remember is a state or an experience. But it can't remember who you are, because who you are is just always here. It can't become a memory. Whatever's recorded in the mind, the mind just knows the world of thoughts. Um, so so the mind will question, in the moment, all sorts of things. It'll, question, am I really awake? And as soon as the mind, as soon as those questions are coming up, of course, it's just phenomena in the mind. So this technique is great for just clearing the mind. So if the mind is generating anything, doubts, confusion. Maybe the mind thinks, I know who I am. I don't need to be doing this. This is stupid or whatever it is. But that's just another thought. It's just another thought coming up in the mind, right? So when we keep going with this, we just keep clearing the mind. We just see, what is the mind generating, and when we make it conscious, then that pattern just drops, and it's like these layers, these filters that get dropped one by one eventually. And so if we're doing this for days, it's incredible how the mind
Mhm.
gets clear. And then we find ourselves back in that state of presence, in that samadhi state. We recognize that awareness that has always been here, but it's like it just wakes up to itself again. And
Mm.
that's what I refer to that as Kensho,
Right.
just because I came from more of the Zen tradition, but that's just that awareness waking up to itself, basically.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Malcolm. Malcolm. Yeah. Hi there.
I thank you so much for this opportunity and this retreat. It really means a lot to me. Um, so this is the first time I did a diet, um, and I know you say there's no right or wrong way to do it. However, I just want to report like my experience, and basically I'm trying to experience who I really am when I am given the imperative. So, of course, the mind is shooting all of these answers. So uh, some of the answers that I'm given, are just the random thoughts that are coming up. And then, there's also this body sensation, this sort of energy flowing. So I guess the question there is, do I just keep reporting whatever I am noticing, as I'm trying to experience who I really am?
hmm Yeah, so that's a great question. So yes, when you intend to directly experience who you are, you know, in that moment, when you take time to intend to directly experience, we want to just sort of have an open mind. So there's nothing for the mind to do in that space. But quite often the mind, it's already doing quite a bit. So there can be random thoughts. What we want to distinguish is just sort of mundane phenomena versus phenomena that has come up as a result of the inquiry. So sometimes, when we start doing these dyads, if we do a bunch of them, sometimes they turn into something that can be almost kind of robotic, like it's almost like a weather report, just the phenomena that's arising. So we want to really hone in on the phenomena that is not just phenomena that's always there. It's like my stomach is rumbling or whatever, but phenomena that is coming up as a result of doing that inquiry. So what moves in the mind and body when I intend to directly experience who I am, you know, what does that feel like in the body? Maybe there's a confusion, maybe there's a contraction, maybe the mind is racing. Maybe there's heat in the body, like an energy starts to come. So we want to hone in specifically on the phenomena that is it's coming up because we're doing this practice.
Thank you. That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Go to Kalia.
Hi, you said my name right. I feel like most people don't get
Oh,
it.
awesome.
Um, I want to second what Christina said. This is really great. This is my first time coming to a spiritual retreat, so it's just really impactful for me. But I notice for me, as I'm doing the dyad, so this is my first time doing the dyad as well, that there is a hesitancy to truly authentically express myself, which I'm sure is pretty normal.
Totally. If there
Yeah,
wasn't, if you could just do it, you wouldn't need to do the dyads. Yeah. So
right.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Mhm.
so I'm like, okay, this is a good sign.
Mhm.
And I also wanted to ask, is there a way what would you recommend? Because I decided to join this yesterday. I just found out. So I have work Monday through Friday.
Okay.
So I know I won't be able to do all of the practices, and I want to try to join again at a time to where I can take the whole week off.
Yeah.
Will this retreat allow me to join again?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, like now that you have access, you can do it anytime. Yeah. So it's
Okay.
it's perpetual,
Yeah.
it's going to be going on forever. So yeah, just if you have 7 days where you can really jump in, or even 3 days or whatever, you can it's you don't go as deep. We put the 7 days together because it's really about the minimal amount of time to really clear the mind and bring about the likelihood of awakening. Yeah, but all of it is good. I mean, even an evening of dyads on its own is amazing. So
Yeah.
so whatever works. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and that hesitancy that you mentioned, if you can start to really feel that in the body as well, you can start to notice, like when the thoughts start to come up in the mind, is there a feeling in the body that's connected with that as well? And when we start to feel that whole pattern, we very quickly start to make what's usually unconscious conscious. So,
Yeah.
mhm.
Okay. And I also noticed myself saying me and myself and I, so I keep trying to
Yeah,
get away from that.
yeah, and yeah, you don't have to necessarily cut those words out, but it's good that you're noticing and just start to question. Is it true? When those words are coming out of my mouth in the way that I'm using them, is it true when I say things? And
Yeah.
and those are like little threads that we start to dismantle that self structure and that the persona, and we start to go beyond that to find out who we are,
Yeah.
apart beyond the character that we've been playing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you so much.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you. So I think that is
Hi, Dan. I couldn't find the reaction button for
okay.
some
That's
reason in
okay.
my version of the Zoom.
Okay. Let me
So I
just
do,
find you here. Just one second.
Helen.
Sorry, what's your name? I can hear a voice.
Helen Pun.
Pardon?
Helen Pun.
Okay. Oh, I see you there. Okay. Let me
Yeah.
let me just spotlight you there. Okay. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi,
Hi,
Helen.
Dan.
Hi.
So this is really my first time doing Daya.
Mhm.
Um, I started drawing pretty much just a blank
Mhm.
for a very long time. The mind was just very, very quiet. There's no thoughts coming up, only body reaction.
Mm.
Interesting enough, the first body reaction was energy right to the thought, and so all I can pretty much for two turns, my turn, all I feel is energy going through the body. Definitely, there's when I think about, how to answer the question, there's knots like in the stomach. There's starting to gather some energy and it shoots up, and then just my body is very hot. Um, this idea of the mind maybe cunning popped up once, but then there's very little words I can describe the mind reaction, but pretty much it's just the body. Almost as if like the mind knows what not to say at this point, not to come up. So it's like completely shut off. Feels interesting because at first I feel very unnatural, like it's just like, artificially quiet.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. That's a lot of insight. You have a lot of insight into your mind and what's happening. And if that energy, do you do a lot of meditation? Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that you're feeling a lot of that energy, so you're actually coming to a place in this practice that we usually come to a little bit later. So Charles Berner, who's the creator of this practice, he talks about these. There are different sort of stages that people move through in this practice. So there's a stage where the mind becomes very still, very very quiet, and it's like we come to the witness basically. And so he calls that no man's land, where you're not in the awakened state, but you're in a sort of a peaceful state where you're just watching phenomena. So you're kind of hanging out as that witness. So this is a great place to be in the practice. So when you're in that space, then you can start to explore. Like they say, the witness is the last holdout of the ego. So there's still this sense that there's this being witnessing, and then there's what's being witnessed. So there's still this duality. So when you're in this space, you can start to explore. The inquiry can become something like, who's aware of both the witness and the witnessed. Who's can you directly experience that one that is aware, just purely aware. So there's this part of the mind, that is this witness, that it's like a camera. We can turn the camera here and there, moving it around. But there's an awareness that doesn't move. It's just has no phenomena. There's no, you know, we can't point to it. It's just pure consciousness itself. So can you directly experience that consciousness itself? It's just aware. And then it's because it's always it's the mind body that's turning the camera. Even the energy is part of that mind body, and there's this mind camera that is witnessing that energy because we can track it through the body. It's moving here and there. So yeah, so just keep intending to directly experience that awareness itself. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who could not raise their hand? And you could raise your physical hand if you want to. Yeah. Oh, Denise. Yeah. Hi there.
Hi, Dan.
Hi.
I feel like my mind wants to masquerade as my awareness, and it's kind of tricky.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I feel like I've had that experience. I know what it is,
Mm-hmm.
but then when I'm in a dyad, I think my mind wants to take over and describe it and be it.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah.
and I sometimes it tricks me, and so
Yeah.
I'm not really sure where to go with that.
Yeah, good. It's great that you just see it. There's nothing to do about that except
Okay.
to see what is in play, basically. Yeah, the mind, like literally, I've seen it over and over. Like people will have an awakening, and then, the mind will say, "I did it," and take ownership of it, and then, sometimes create a whole spiritual persona around the experience of it. And then, the memory of it, there's this knowing. We always have this deep knowing that, whatever that experience was, it's like the mind wants to get back there. It wants to recreate that experience, but it can't, because it's the very thing that dropped away for that experience to happen. So the mind plays this game. Everybody's mind. I've not met one person who had an awakening experience where their mind didn't come back and appropriate it in some way. And the mind will get all kinds of non-dual language, and gets very crafty, at being able to speak in this kind of non-dual way. And there's this sense of knowing in the mind. It's like the telltale sign, is if you think conceptually, if the mind is generating answers and it's like really sure, you know, or it can be doubting on the other. It's either one extreme or the other. It's either doubting or it's really sure. And it has all this language and all these cunning ways of describing. So this practice is really about entering into a don't know mind, the unknowing mind. So if we can truly allow the mind to just be open, um, just, it sometimes in this process, the mind usually gets humbled over and over. We'll start exploring something that's coming up, and it sounds like we're onto something. And then eventually it's like, oh, it's the mind again. It's just thoughts, it's beliefs. Something I read in a non-dual teaching, or maybe it's a memory. Maybe the mind is trying to recreate something from the past. So yeah, so it's good, and there's nothing to do except see it, just to make it conscious, just be conscious of that. So it's great that you see it. And we don't want to resist the mind at all, because the egoic mind is nothing but resistance. It's always just this collection of patterns, which is just resistance to what is. So all of these preferences that we hold in the ego, they're just wanting one thing or another. In Buddhism, they call it craving and aversion, but it's just these patterns of wanting something or wanting to get rid of something. So we just start to see that all of this is in play, and usually it's deeply unconscious, but it's coming up to the surface in this practice. So just by seeing it, allowing everything to be exactly as it is, um, then all of it, these energies can be freed from the unconscious. But we don't try to get rid of the mind or negate it, or because it's only the mind that tries to get rid of the mind.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Denise. Yeah. There's a few things in the chat here. Sorry, what is, yeah, is there any way to communicate with your dyad partner later? You know, at the end of the retreat, we might, if people are open to it, you know, we can exchange emails. But generally, in the retreat, we don't want to communicate outside of the dyads. We're usually, you know, when we enter into like a conversation, it's very different than the dyad structure. So the dyad is for clearing the mind, you know, for the sole purpose of having a direct experience of who we are. Yeah, so maybe at the end of the retreat, we'll talk about that. Lynn. Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Dan.
Hi.
I have a question. It is as the listening partner, what should I know I don't speak, I don't have the face expression,
Yeah.
but what should I do?
What should you do?
Yeah,
Just,
do I?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do I just be open? So because I ask this question is because I used to have a retreat and my teacher told me like to be open and also use the truth me to face my partner.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Yeah.
But I'm not sure the truth me.
Mhm.
Sometimes I feel some pressure.
Mhm.
So
Mhm. Yeah. So what you're describing, you know, sometimes people will feel that, you know, there's a part of them, and we actually sometimes do an exercise, instead of tell me who you are, it's show me who you are. So so you're in front of a partner and you're just looking into their eyes, and the exercise is show me who you are. And so you just, it's like you let your true self shine through, you know. So it's, some people call it soul gazing, you know, where it's just you let your true being shine through, and it just starts to happen sometimes, naturally in this process. You know, we don't have to make it happen. It's as we start to strip away the layers in this process, you know, who we are just starts to shine through. So there can be, you know, a compassion and so for us to, you know, intend, at this point in the retreat, we just listen to our partner. You know, that's all are really doing, just being there, just noticing if we're really present, and yeah, I like being open. Open is a good word. You know, I think, yeah, just being open and. Yeah, and you will feel things happening, in the mind and body, and energies, especially if you're kind of an empathic person, if you're feeling what the other person is feeling, sometimes you'll feel their emotions. Um, and as we go deeper in this practice, sometimes you'll feel that you are that person. Sometimes you feel like
yeah.
you're witnessing them so deeply that it's like you feel like you know what it is to be that person. You know, it's like almost like a merging starts to happen.
For me, I before I asked this question to my last teacher is because I always try to like when my partner shares something, I always try to like I want to help and I want to do something that makes me, you know, like holding their problems and
Hmm.
and sometimes some advice. But so I feel tired about all this because it's like a conflict.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
when I was get the teacher told me to be open and to be um like just know what just waitress. Um, I feel okay. I can do that, and but I still have some pressure in my chest area.
Mhm.
That's why I ask this question again today.
Mhm.
There is
Mhm.
not. I'm just as is. There is still something here.
Mhm.
Um, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's good that you feel that and you see that. And as we go deeper in this practice, a lot of things come up for the witnesses. Even though the person doing the inquiry is inquiring, but sometimes as the witness, we're also clearing. We're seeing the mind's tendencies. We're discovering things, in the body that we're holding sometimes. There may be a tendency to want to help somebody or to do something, and yeah, it gets really interesting. Sometimes it's very hard to just be completely neutral and there for someone. So we learn, what's happening in the mind and body when we're just sitting as the witness, and we just allow it, just observe it. But we don't want to act on, if the mind comes up with thinks it has to help someone or do something to break out of the dyad. We just observe it but allow it to arise and pass away, and all of
So
this.
sorry.
That's
So
okay.
I am just observe myself and observe my partner.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
If
And
nothing happened, just observe my partner. But if something arise to myself, I also observe myself.
yeah. Sometimes, if energy is moving and things are happening, you can't help but observe that as well. But your attention is on your partner. So you want to, really find out who this being is in front of you. So when you say, "Tell me who you are," there's a sense of really wanting to know. So you're really listening, paying attention, and letting them convey who they are, um, to you, because you're who they are. When you find out who they are, truly who they are, you're also finding out who you are, because it's one and the same. It's the one consciousness that we all share. So you'll see it through them, and they'll see it through you, and you'll see it when you explore yourself as well. Yeah. So it's all one investigation.
Thank you.
Hmm. Yeah. Thank you. I'll go to Kalia. Yes.
I just wanted to respond to what Lynn said. I had the same experience. Well, it's funny because I feel like as people are sharing, I'm like, oh, I had that experience too, and I had that experience too. um, but yeah, I had the same experience, and there were times where my partner was speaking and they were sad, and then I felt that sadness and wanted to cry. And then there was a part of me that questioned, like, are you even sharing yourself, or are you copying this person and taking on their emotions? And so as I noticed that, what helped me was to even express that, like, I feel a feeling of pressure arising
Mhm.
and a need to want to help you,
Mhm. So
but also
you express that as the witness, or
as the inquirer
as the
with,
inquirer? Okay. Yeah.
yeah, tell me who you are, just
Mhm.
whatever came to mind. And that kind
Yeah.
of eased that sense of pressure for me, because it's just I was experiencing what was in my mind at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, no. And then I had to say, but I'm also reminded just to stay present and just to remain neutral, you know. And then with that, I realized that it's okay. It's okay to be sad and to witness people being sad, because sometimes in doing that, there's a release, you know, in allowing them to be sad, and there's a freedom that happens, and then it allows you to recognize that it's okay for you to be sad. So that those are my realizations as I did the practice.
That's great. Yeah, those are amazing insights. And yeah, as we continue in this practice, you know, we really learn to open ourselves to others, and it's amazing how we you know feel the same. We can. It's almost like sometimes I think of it kind of like tuning forks, where you know people will start to resonate at the same frequency, and there can be yeah, just a beautiful communication. And whether that's sadness or happiness or whatever it is, there's just a sort of attunement, and this can be part of this clearing process to just allow all of that phenomena to come and go. And then, you know, we just keep inquiring, like, who is the one who is aware, you know, of all of that. You know, the phenomena, all the feelings, emotions, thoughts, it's all changing. But who is it that remains? Who is always there as the one aware?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. We'll go to Golam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi there.
Yeah. It's like sometimes it's like when I talk with like communication with some other people, except like when I'm in my room, I feel like I am myself. But whenever I try to communicate with someone, it feels like I'm just wearing a mask. It's just came into my face. My face become my mask. I don't even know that time who am I. I just forget everything.
Yeah, that's a beautiful sharing right there. You know, you're being very honest and open. You're seeing what's going on in the mind. Yeah, and do you have when you're in a situation, you know, with someone,
It's like
do you feel what?
whenever I meditate alone or do these things Dyads alone, I feel like everything is okay. But whenever I just want to share with someone, I feel like there is a mask coming out.
Yeah. That's exactly why we do this practice. So for me, I see this practice as like a bridge between the meditation cushion and the world. You know, we want to be able to take that consciousness, you know, that we may, you know, be out of in a very peaceful state in meditation, but then if we lose it when we go out in the world, it's not particularly helpful. So this with this practice, we're learning to, you know, first we're clearing the mind, you know, clearing these patterns. I have a question. So when you you know, you notice you feel that mask when you're with someone. What do you feel in the body? Do you feel the body?
It's like I notice my body movements, even like my hand is like moving. I notice this, and also like my face, I feel some sensation over my face. Even most of the time, I just feel nervous or like overconfident. Either overconfident or nervous. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, that's
it just all gets mixed up.
Yeah. Well, that you've got a lot of material to work with there in the
Yeah.
dyads. It's perfect. Yeah, and you're seeing what's in play. So, yeah, just keep going with it. Keep exploring. I would say, it's really helpful to feel what's happening in the body. When you notice that the mask is there,
Yeah.
then how, is there a contraction? Is there a change in the feeling in the body? That is that sense of ease in the body. Does that sense of ease disappear? And how does that disappear? So yeah.
Yes, it feels like sometimes you like you said, sometimes I feel like I'm a robot. My
Mm,
body movements become like robot.
hmm.
When I like walk in the roads, public place, there like it feels like I'm a robot walking there.
Yeah.
Like all people is looking to me, looking at me, but I'm just moving through them. Even they just look like all the people, I feel like it's so different.
Yeah.
Don't know why, but it
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. Well,
Like
what
so
we're
much confusion. It's like so much confusion comes.
yeah. Yeah. Well, if you can allow that confused mind to turn into a don't know mind, so you just allow the mind to not know, you know, and when if the mind is trying to know, there's a struggle. But if we allow the mind to be a not knowing mind, then we start to drop that struggle, and we can start to move into that sense of ease. And that's what we're moving towards in this practice. So if you yeah, just by starting to feel what's coming up for you, and if the mind is trying to do something, then that's when that constriction, that contraction is there. But if you can just allow the mind to not know, it's a huge burden that's released if the mind doesn't have to know.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? Okay. So just a few things. We'll take a little break here shortly before the next dyad period. Um, and yeah, I'll just mention a few things. Um, So, yeah, at the beginning of this process, it is really hard to avoid nodding to your partner and giving, you know, feedback when you're the witness. But we try to do the best we can. So just notice that tendency to be nodding and to be responding to your partner. Um, Another thing that's important, so sometimes when we receive the imperative, tell me who you are, some people will kind of go inwards, and they'll close their eyes, and they'll do that inquiry. And that's great. You don't have to, but for some people it's more natural to just close the eyes. But when it's time to share, when there's something coming up in the mind and body to share, we want to connect back with our partner. So don't just keep your eyes closed and start talking. You want to reconnect. You want to be really connected with your partner because it's important for the communication process to really see each other's eyes. So you want to maintain eye contact. So whenever you're speaking, you just maintain eye contact with your partner. Um, and yeah, and the last thing maybe I'll share is, I like to use different analogies for awakening and for the realization of this consciousness. So, So I'm going to give you this is what we call the VR analogy. So imagine that you are in a VR game. So you put on the headset. So in that game, you can be anything. You're if you with that headset on, you're looking around. You look at your hands, look at your avatar. It can be anything. It's interchangeable. It depends what game you're playing. So all the phenomena is generated within this game. And so if you're in the VR world and you do an inquiry, who are you in that world? If this avatar, this body here, is like a headset that we put on, then who are you in the VR game? What is consciousness? There's a consciousness in the game, that's playing this character. So when it comes time in the dyad to inquire, tell me who you are. Intend to directly experience that consciousness. So that consciousness in the VR game, intend to directly wake up in that game. So if you think about the VR game, the character in the game, the character can be doing all kinds of practices and whatever it's doing, it's still a character in the game. But you, the consciousness in that game, you wake up from that character. So intend to directly experience that consciousness that you are. And I'll just leave you with that. And
I
oh,
did
yeah.
want to. There are some questions in the chat. I don't know if you saw them.
Oh, let me just see. For some reason, mine flipped over to out of the main chat here. Okay. Okay, yeah. Do we also discuss our meditation experience? So yeah, we'll have a chance. You're going to be going into meditation for the next few days. What we're discussing right now is really meditation as well. This inquiry is meditation. So so the finding, directly experiencing who you are is not separate from meditation. Once we find out who we are, directly, then the meditation changes. There's no more technique. It's just abiding as consciousness. So we are, so this is really meditation. And we're going to, there at the Q&As, there's a lot of recorded Q&As, so there's going to be a lot of questions, the usual questions that come up at the retreat. So for the next few days, you'll be going through those Q&As, and a lot of the questions are going to be addressed in those Q&As. And then on Tuesday, I'll be doing a check-in on Tuesday, and then anything that hasn't been addressed, we'll have an opportunity to get into that as well. And there's a question, is there any way to do the dyad activities sooner in the day? The reason we put them at the end of the day is because people get quite tired at the end of the day, and the mind's defenses are down. And it's actually the best time to do dyads when the mind is not energized. It's kind of sleepy and it's kind of already dropping off. It's the best time to do dyads. So I recommend let yourself get tired, during these 7 days, and that tiredness really is helpful for the dyad process. So yeah, come to the dyads sleepy. And yeah, Monique is asking, yeah, can you ask a private question? Yes. So yeah, so we're gonna take a break now, and everyone will be diving back into Dyads. And Monique, you can stay on, and we'll connect once everybody is logged off. So
Okay. Thank you.
yeah, thanks everyone.
Thanks.